Hello, welcome to this class. So we're going to start off sitting today. So sitting in whatever position you're comfortable in. So that could be cross-legged, legs out in front of you. You could also sit on a chair, and sitting on a block or a cushion to improve your posture if you need to. So you just don't want to be rounded through the spine or the pelvis tucked under. So sitting up nice and tall on the sit bones. And then we're just going to start with a little warm up. So you're just going to bring your left hand down by your side, bring your right hand onto the top of your head and guide your ear down to your shoulder. So don't pull your head down, but just guide it with that hand. Have that hand softly resting on the head. And then just breathing here. So feeling that stretch in the left side of the neck. Lovely. And then let's just play around with the positioning of that left hand. So bring it forwards in front of the body. Feel what that does to the stretch. Keep breathing. You can really use the breath, use the inhale and send it to the area where you feel the most sensation. And then bring that arm behind you. Lovely. And really breathe into that. Breathe into that neck. Lovely. Bring it back to center and then maybe lift the arm up, reach the fingertips away. Keep breathing here. And then place the hand back down, guide the head back up to center. Bring the right hand down on the floor, left hand on the top of the head. Guide the ear down towards the shoulder. Just breathing there, so nice and gentle. You can start to bring in your lateral breathing, so making your breath full and expansive around the ribs. And then let's just play around with that positioning of the arm. So bring the right hand forwards. Really nice. And then bring that right hand back. Really breathing into the area you feel the most sensation. Bring the hand back to center and then bring the arm up. Stretch the fingertips away, lengthening through that arm. And then bring that hand back down, guide the head back up to center. Really nice. We're going to take some seated cat-cows. So bring the hands to the knees. We're going to inhale, lift the chest, lift the gaze up. And then on the exhale, we're going to round through the spine, tuck the pelvis under, chin to chest. We're going to inhale, lifting that sternum, lifting the chin. And then exhale, chin to chest, rounding through the spine, tucking the pelvis under. Inhale, really coming through, sitting onto the kind of front of the sit bones. And then rounding through the spine, we come to the back of the pelvis. So we're rocking to the front of the pelvis as we inhale and to the back of the pelvis as we exhale. So we're just working on our spinal mobility. Really nice. Keep going in your own time with your own breath. Lovely. Coming back to center, bring the left hand down on the floor. Inhale the right hand arm up and then take the right arm over the head on the exhale. We're going to bring that arm down. We're going to inhale it up, exhale it over the head and make an S sound on the exhale. Lovely. We're going to inhale that arm up, exhale making an S sound. And keep going in your own time with your own breath. And you want to come all the way to the end of the S sound. Nice, lovely. Bringing that right hand down, we're going to inhale, left arm up. Exhale, making the S sound as we bring that arm over the head. Inhaling it back down. So we're lengthening the exhale, lengthening the diaphragm. Nice. And we'll go for one more. Lovely. Coming back to center. So we're going to do a lot of cervical flexion and extension in this class. So we're just going to have a little recap on how to come into that. So we want to draw the ears away from the shoulders as we lengthen through the neck, and then bring the chin towards the chest, keeping space for a plum or an egg. This is cervical flexion. And then bring the head back to center. We're now going to come into extension. So for extension, you want to bring your hand to your eye line, and then you want to lift your gaze as if you're looking over a brick wall. Keep lifting your gaze up, and you'll end up looking up to where the ceiling and the wall meet. So you're lifting your chin and your sternum slightly, but you're keeping the back of your neck nice and long, so we're not just dumping down into the back of the neck. Nice, and then you bring the head back to center. Lovely, so we're going to come into those two movements during our postures. I'm going to start off in Hestia with our legs crossed, feet are dorsiflex, sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones. Ribs are stacked over the pelvis, shoulders are on top of that. Going to bring the hands into first. Reach the fingertips away, thumbs down to the earth, bring the arms around that big beach ball to bring them in with engagement. Heels of the hands onto the thighs, push the thighs into the hands, hands into the thighs. When you're ready, we're going to inhale into the ribs and exhaling slowly through the mouth. Crown of the head lengthens towards the sky. Inhaling into the ribs, all the way around the ribs, filling up that cylinder of the rib cage, and exhaling softly and slowly through the mouth. You're going to inhale into the ribs all the way round. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. You're going to pause here, slowly open the ribs. You're going to reach your ears away from your shoulders, and then you're going to draw the chin towards the chest on the apnea. Holding that apnea here, keeping space for that little egg in between the chin and the chest. Hold it here for as long as you can, and then breathing in when you're ready. Nice, coming back to center, let's lift the arms up into our high V position. Keeping those ribs stacked over the pelvis. We're going to come into extension now. So you're going to inhale into the ribs, ribs expand. And exhaling slowly through the mouth, crown of the head lengthens towards the sky. Inhale into the ribs, ribs expanding. And exhaling softly and slowly through the mouth. You're going to breathe all the way into the ribs, all the way round. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, slowly open the ribs. Lift that gaze over that brick wall. Take the gaze up towards the corner of the room. Really nice. Lift the chin and the sternum slightly. Hold it here for as long as you can. Breathing in when you're ready. And then coming back to center. Lovely. Going to bring the hands into our first position again. And we're going to come into our cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, come into our extension of the spine. And then on the exhale, we're going to come into a flexion of the spine. Inhale into extension, and then exhale into flexion. We're going to reset the spine in neutral for our apnea. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift the chin, lift the sternum. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding through the spine, tucking the pelvis under. Inhaling all the way around the ribs, lift the sternum, lift the chin. And exhaling slowly through the mouth, tucking the pelvis under, rounding through the spine, chin comes to chest. Inhaling, lifting up, chin and sternum. And exhaling slowly through the mouth, coming back to neutral. You're going to pause here and slowly open the ribs. Lovely, holding it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in when you're ready. Really nice, lovely. We're going to come onto all fours, coming into our Gaia position, hands facing towards each other, hands underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, toes are tucked under at the back, elbows are slightly bent. And we're going to do 3 breaths and then come into cervical flexion. So when you're ready, you're going to inhale all the way around the ribs and exhaling softly and slowly through the mouth. Inhaling into the ribs, ribs expanding. And exhale slowly through the mouth. Inhale all the way around the ribs. Exhaling softly and slowly. Pausing here, slowly open the ribs, reach the ears away from the shoulders. Draw the chin towards the chest, keeping space for that plum or that egg. Lovely. Hold it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in when you're ready. Reset the head back to center. Nice. We're going to come into some cat-cows now. So you can bring your hands to face forwards. We're going to inhale, coming into our cow pose. And as we exhale, chin comes towards chest, tuck the pelvis under, coming into cat, a cat stretch. And then we're going to reset the spine into neutral for our apnea. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale, lift the sternum, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhaling slowly through the mouth, rounding through the spine, chin to chest, tucking the pelvis under. Inhaling into the ribs, lifting the gaze, lift the tailbone, lift the chin, lift the chest. Exhaling slowly through the mouth, tuck the pelvis under, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. Inhaling, lift the tailbone, sink the belly, lift the chest, lift the gaze. Exhale back to neutral. You're going to hold your breath out, pause, slowly open the ribs here. Holding it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in when you're ready. Really nice. We're going to push into the hands and the feet, lift the hips up nice and high, coming into a downward facing dog. Push through the hands, bend the knees as much as you can, and really lift those hips up nice and high. So we're lengthening through the spine. When you've got your hips as high as they'll go, start to try and get your legs straight and your heels down onto the floor, keeping those hips lifted. Lovely. And then when you're ready, you're going to step your feet in towards your hands, take a forward fold for a moment, inhale at the bottom, and then exhale, bring the arms round, hands come together above the head, and then bring the hands down towards the chest. Lovely. We're going to come into Athena now with flexion, and then we're going to do a round in extension. So we're going to have the hands in our first hand position. Feet are hip distance apart, knees are soft, pelvis neutral, ribs are stacked over the pelvis, shoulders on top of that, head is on top of that. Balance point is forwards onto the front of the feet. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale into the ribs expand. And exhaling slowly through the mouth. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale all the way around the ribs. Exhaling for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're going to hold the breath out, pause, slowly open the ribs. Reach your ears away from the shoulders, bring the chin towards the chest, coming into flexion, holding it here for as long as you can. Lovely. And then breathing in when you're ready. Reset the head back to center. Bring the arms up into your high V position. Balance is still forwards. We're going to come into extension now. So you're going to inhale into the ribs all the way around. And exhaling slowly through the mouth. Inhale into the ribs, expanding that whole canister, that whole rib cage. And exhaling softly and slowly. Inhaling into the ribs. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, slowly open the ribs. Lift the gaze over that brick wall. Lift the chin and the sternum, keeping length in the front of the neck and the back of the neck as well. Hold it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in whenever you're ready, set the head back to center. Really nice. Bring the hands, fingers, pinky fingers into the hip crease. We're going to lift up and over those fingers. Heels of the hands to the top of the thighs, coming into our Artemis position. Balance point is forwards, looking about 1 meter away from you. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale into the ribs. Ribs expand. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Inhaling all the way around the ribs, breathing into the ribs. And exhale softly and slowly. Inhale into the ribs. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, open the ribs, reach your ears away from the shoulders, draw your chin towards your chest, keeping space for that plum. Hold it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in when you're ready, bring the head back to center. We're going to do cervical, thoracic and lumbar flexion on each exhale. So you're going to inhale into the ribs. As you exhale, reach the ears away from the shoulders, bring the chin towards the chest. Inhale into the ribs. Exhale, curling above that bra strap. Inhale into the ribs. On the exhale, belly lifts up and over a beach ball. Hands slide down just above the knees, looking up at your belly button. You hold the breath out here. Widen the ribs. Holding it here. Keep that balance point forwards. Ears away from the shoulders. Shoulders should be in line with the hips, so as low as the hips. Lovely. Breathing in when you're ready. And then we're going to do another 3 breaths. So you're going to inhale into the ribs. Exhale, reach the hands 2 feet forwards. Put the hands on the floor, look back at the thighs. Inhale into the ribs. On the exhale, step 1 foot back and then the other foot back. Inhaling into the ribs, look back at the thighs. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Hold the breath out, pause, slowly open the ribs. Hold it here for as long as you can. Lovely. And then breathing in when you're ready. We're going to inhale and then exhale, drop the knees down. Setting up in your Maya position now. So hands underneath shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. So you're then going to drop the elbows down and replace the hands with the elbows. Those forearms come out in front of you. Take the gaze back through the elbows, looking back towards the thighs. So we're going to come into our cervical flexion again. So you're going to inhale into the ribs, ribs expand. And exhaling softly and slowly through the mouth. Inhaling into the ribs. And exhale slowly through the mouth. Inhale all the way around the ribs. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, slowly open the ribs. Reach the ears away from the shoulders. Chin comes towards the chest, keeping space for that plum. Hold it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in whenever you're ready. Lovely. Set the head back to center. Bring the hands together in the center. Elbows nudge out towards the side. Forehead lightly rests on the floor behind the hands. Taking the gaze back towards your thighs. We're going to do 3 breaths in an apnea here. So when you're ready, you're going to inhale into the ribs, ribs expanding. And exhale softly and slowly through the mouth. Inhaling into the ribs. And exhaling slowly through the mouth. Inhaling all the way around the ribs. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, slowly open the rib cage. Hold it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in whenever you're ready. Really nice. Coming up onto the hands again and then coming onto the knees, we're going to set up in our aura position. Toes are tucked under at the back, feet are hip distance apart. And then draw the tailbone down towards the floor slightly, opening up through the hip flexors. We're going to bring the hands into our first arm position. Bring the balance point forwards. We're going to do 3 breaths in an apnea and come into a flexion. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale into the ribs. Ribs expand. And exhaling slowly through the mouth. Lengthen and grow through the spine. Inhaling into the ribs all the way round. And exhaling softly and slowly. Inhale, breathing into the rib cage. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Pausing here, slowly open the ribs. Ears away from the shoulders, draw the chin towards the chest, keeping space for that plum. Lovely, holding it here, keep that balance point forward still. And then breathing in whenever you're ready. Head comes back to center, bring the arms up and bring them into your high V position. Balance point is forwards. We're going to inhale into the ribs, ribs expand. And exhaling slowly through the mouth. Inhaling into the ribs and exhaling softly and slowly. Inhale all the way around the ribs. Exhaling slowly through the mouth. Pause here, open the ribs. Reach the gaze over that brick wall, lifting the chin and the sternum, looking up to the corner of the room, holding it here for as long as you can. And then breathing in whenever you're ready. Set the head back to center. We're going to take the feet flat on the floor, bring the bottom down onto the heels, stretch the arms out in front of you, coming into a child pose. And then taking 5 nice deep breaths here into the back of the ribs. Lovely. So really breathing into the back of the ribs. Lovely. Bring your right hand off the mat. Bring your left arm to join it and then breathe into the left hand side. Breathe from the armpit all the way down to the hips. Send the breath to the area you feel the most sensation. Lovely, coming back to center with the hands, bring the left hand off the mat, bring the right hand to join it. And again, take some nice deep breaths here into that right hand side. Lovely, bring the hands back to center, guide yourself back up to sitting. And that is our practice complete. Thanks so much for practicing with me.